Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
I'm excited to be here.
So today,
Yeah?
we're going to be doing a deep dive
Okay.
into the future of tech, specifically looking at where things are headed as we roll into 2025.
Sounds good.
We're going to be talking about all sorts of things like,
Uh.
will AI take over our jobs? Or will it just make our jobs easier? Are we all going to be investing in Bitcoin soon?
Good question.
And why are tech giants hanging out with politicians these days?
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? There's been a noticeable shift in how tech leaders are interacting with the political sphere.
Yeah, it's a far cry from like that kind of awkward Trump Tower meeting back in 2016.
Right. Now we're seeing, friendly dinners at Mar-a-Lago.
What do you think is driving this change?
Well, tech companies are realizing they can't just operate in a bubble anymore. As their influence grows, they have to deal with regulations, especially around new technologies like AI.
Makes sense.
So building relationships with policymakers is super important for them.
So it's not just about like getting favors. It's more about having a say in how the rules are made.
Exactly. Take Meta, for example. Their AI plans could be seriously affected by regulations. It could either help them take off or hold them back.
Right.
And then you've got the whole rivalry between Bezos's Amazon and Musk's SpaceX. They're both going after dominance in different areas, but their CEOs are interacting with the same political figures.
It's like a high-stakes game of chess.
Yeah, totally. For tech leaders, it's about pushing for policies that help them grow. And for politicians, it's about understanding these technologies and maybe securing some support along the way.
Do you think companies like, say, Meta and Amazon, even though they might want similar regulations,
Sure.
are they also kind of keeping an eye on each other because they're such big competitors?
Oh, definitely. There's this constant tension between working together and competing. They might be on the same page when it comes to lobbying for AI regulations, but they're still fighting for market share and e-commerce and all that.
It's complicated.
Yeah, a very expensive dance.
Speaking of expensive, let's talk about crypto. It's been a wild ride, to say the least. Massive ups and downs, enough to make anyone nervous. What are your thoughts on crypto as we head into 2025?
It's definitely been a roller coaster. But for those who get the technology and see the long-term potential, the recent dips shouldn't be a reason to panic.
So it's kind of like reading out the people who aren't really committed.
Yeah, in a way. And we're seeing more big institutions getting into crypto, which is interesting.
You mean those Bitcoin ETFs we've been hearing about?
Yeah, those are a big deal. And it's not just Bitcoin. Ethereum ETFs are getting attention too. Even BlackRock, one of the biggest asset managers out there, is recommending putting a little bit of money into Bitcoin. When you think about how much money these institutions manage, even a small percentage shift towards crypto can make a big difference.
So it's not just like individual investors anymore.
Exactly. And it's probably going to become even more mainstream. By 2025, we might see crypto strategies becoming as normal as investing in stocks and bonds.
Should we all be rushing out to buy Bitcoin then?
Not necessarily. It's always important to diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Good advice. But it's hard not to get caught up in the hype sometimes.
I get it. But it's all about approaching crypto with a balanced view. Understand the risks, do your research, and think of it as one part of your investments, not a way to get rich quick.
So on to the AI revolution that everyone's talking about. Software stocks are going crazy. Companies like Palantir have huge valuations. Is the hype real, or is it all going to come crashing down?
The AI revolution is definitely real, and it's only getting started. But we're still in the early stages. There's a lot of hype, and valuations are high, especially for those companies leading the way in generative AI. We might see things cool down a bit in the short term because of the overall economy, but the long-term trend is clear.
It's a bit of a roller coaster, but ultimately going up.
Exactly. There's a lot of innovation happening, and everyone wants a piece of the AI pie. But beyond the hype, there are some really transformative things happening, particularly with AI agents.
AI agents? That sounds like something out of a movie. Are we talking about, like, little robots doing our work for us?
Well, not robots exactly, but the idea is similar. AI agents are basically software programs that can do tasks on their own, using data and algorithms to make decisions without us having to tell them what to do every step of the way.
Okay, so maybe not robots taking over the world just yet. But still, Pretty impressive. What's so special about these AI agents?
What's really cool about them is that they can take data from all sorts of places and figure out what it means. They can analyze huge amounts of information, find patterns, and make predictions that would take us humans forever to do.
So they're like superpowered analysts.
Exactly. And this has huge implications for businesses everywhere. Imagine AI agents helping doctors diagnose diseases more accurately, or financial institutions making smarter investments, or even marketing teams creating super personalized campaigns.
It sounds like AI agents could change everything.
They really could. And the best part is, we're just getting started.
Things are moving fast. Who are the big players in this AI agent world, and what should we be keeping an eye on in the next few years?
Well, Salesforce is definitely a leader, using their massive amount of customer data to create powerful AI agents. But we're also seeing lots of startups jumping in, coming up with new solutions for specific industries.
So it's like the big guys versus the startups.
Exactly. And this competition is leading to some amazing innovations. We're moving away from having to build AI solutions from scratch and towards more ready-to-use options that even smaller businesses can take advantage of.
So less DIY and more plug and play.
Exactly. And this is a big deal for software companies and those making the hardware that powers all this AI. The demand for powerful computers to run these AI applications is only going to grow.
It sounds like we're about to see a big shift, not just in how businesses work, but also in the skills people need to have.
You're absolutely right. As AI agents get more advanced, they're going to automate some of the tasks that humans are doing now.
So is this the beginning of the robot apocalypse? Are we all going to be out of a job?
I wouldn't call it an apocalypse, but it's definitely a big change. AI will change the way we work, but it'll also create new opportunities. Instead of being scared of AI, we should focus on adapting and learning the skills that will be in demand in this new world.
So we should be figuring out how to work with AI, not against it.
Exactly. Think of AI as a powerful tool that can help us do things better, not replace us entirely. The key is to understand what it can do, what it can't do, and how to use it to our advantage.
Like having a super smart assistant that can handle the boring stuff so we can focus on the more interesting and creative work.
Exactly. AI can take care of the data analysis and repetitive tasks, freeing us up to focus on solving problems, coming up with new ideas, and building relationships.
So instead of worrying about losing our jobs, we should see AI as a way to make our work more meaningful and impactful.
Absolutely. AI has the potential to change businesses and help us solve some of the world's biggest challenges, like climate change and disease.
That's an inspiring thought. But with all this talk about AI's potential, it's easy to forget about the possible downsides. Are there any risks or ethical concerns we need to be aware of?
Of course. Like any powerful technology, AI can be misused. Things like data privacy, bias in algorithms, and the potential for job losses are all valid concerns that we need to address carefully.
So it's not just about building smarter machines, it's about making sure they're used ethically and responsibly.
Exactly. We need to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of AI and come up with guidelines and regulations to make sure it's developed and used in the right way.
It's a balancing act.
It is. And it's a responsibility we all share, from the people creating the technology to the policymakers to everyone else.
You mentioned earlier that tech companies are getting more involved with politicians to influence regulations. Do you think this will keep happening as AI becomes more common?
Absolutely. As AI has a bigger impact on society, there will be a greater need for regulation. Tech companies will definitely be part of shaping those regulations, pushing for policies that allow them to innovate while addressing concerns about ethics and safety.
It makes you wonder if those dinners at Mar-a-Lago are just the beginning of how much influence tech companies are trying to have on politics.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. The relationship between tech and politics is getting closer, and the decisions made today will have a big impact on the future.
It sounds like we're entering a new era where technology is about more than just gadgets and gizmos. It's about shaping society itself.
Exactly. And it's not just about the technology. It's about the choices we make, the conversations we have, and the values we stand by as we figure out how to navigate this new landscape.
It's a lot to think about, but it's also pretty exciting. We're living in a time of incredible technological change, and the possibilities seem endless.
They are. And it's up to us to make sure we use this power for good and create a future that benefits everyone.
Well said. This deep dive has given me a lot to think about. What about you? What's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to consider as they go about their day?
What really stood out to me is that we're not just watching this technological revolution happen, we're a part of it. The choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow.
That's a powerful thought. It reminds us that we all have a role to play in shaping the future.
Exactly. Whether we're learning about new technologies, having thoughtful discussions, or advocating for policies that align with our values, we can all make a difference.
It's about being informed, engaged, and empowered.
Exactly. And remembering that the future isn't something that just happens to us, it's something we create.
I love that. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive for today.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And a big thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey.
We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did. We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did. We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did.
And remember, staying informed isn't just about keeping up. It's about understanding how these changes will impact our lives.
Right.
And making conscious choices about how we want to shape the future. So go out there, be curious,
Yeah.
be engaged, and most importantly,
Yeah.
be the change you want to see in the world.
Well said.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions. Wow, it's amazing to think about everything we talked about today, from tech and politics to crypto and AI. It's a lot.
It really shows how connected everything is, you know? It's not like these things are happening separately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it seems like the pace of change is just getting faster and faster.
Oh, absolutely. We're living in a time of, like, exponential growth in technology. It's exciting, but it can also be a bit overwhelming.
For sure, exciting.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder how we can even keep up with it all.
That's a good question, but I think the key is, not just trying to keep up with everything, but being smart about what we choose to focus on.
Yeah. So instead of trying to know everything about every new gadget, we should concentrate on understanding the big trends that affect our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where critical thinking is so important. We need to be able to look at all the information that's thrown at us every day, figure out what's true and what's not, and form our own opinions.
It's like we need a filter for all the noise out there.
Exactly. And that's more important than ever, especially with so much misinformation spreading online.
Speaking of online, social media plays a huge role in shaping how we see technology. How do we navigate that world responsibly?
It's really important to be aware of the biases and agendas that can be behind the information we see on social media. We need to be critical of what we read, check the facts, and look for different perspectives.
So it's not just about being skeptical of everything, it's about being proactive and seeking out reliable sources.
Exactly. And that's where shows like Byte-Sized Tech come in, We try to give a balanced view of the latest tech trends and help people understand what really matters.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. This deep dive has been super insightful. I feel like I have a much better grasp on how to navigate the world of tech now.
I'm glad to hear that. It's been a pleasure talking about all this with you and our listeners.
To our listeners, thanks for joining us on this exploration of the tech world. We hope you found it valuable.
Remember, the future of tech isn't set in stone. It's shaped by the choices we make today. So stay informed, stay engaged, and let's build a future we can all be proud of.
That's a great message. Well, it's time to wrap up this episode of Byte-Sized Tech. We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun and informative tech discussions.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.